So, the most important thing to know is Gita, the main core concepts of the Gita is in second chapter. Right? You don't need 18 chapters. First chapter is the issue. Right? First chapter is the issue. Second chapter is everything, that Krishna has to say. From 3rd to 17th chapter is basically expansion of the key concepts in the second chapter. Everything in every other chapter is an expansion of a key concept within your second chapter, right? So, as I said last time, it's very important to understand the key concepts in the second chapter. So I told you last time I'm going to write a mind map of it. We didn't have time last time, but let's start with that, so that whenever we go to the next chapter, just make a note of that. We can always come back to which concept it is an expansion of, right? When it's Vishwarupa Darshana, why is Vishwarupa Darshana connected to something, in Dhyana that Krishna talks of in the second chapter? Karma Yoga, why Karma Yoga chapter? What was not obvious or what was not in detail in the second chapter? So we can go back to all of those concepts in the second chapter, and then we can revisit that, and then you will understand how second chapter is the key or the core of the Gita. Right? Gita is second chapter. Everything else is the expansion of these key concepts. So let's look at the key concepts. So you have to help me here. Okay? So, what are the two things in the second chapter? Two main concepts, as in the two main headings. One is Sankhya, the other one is Yoga, right? So, one is Sankhya, the other one is Yoga. And they map with each other. Right? They map with each other. What does Sankhya mean?
Strategy?
No, Yoga means strategy. Yoga means skill. Sankhya means knowledge, right? Sankhya means Shuddha Atma Tattva Vijnanam Sankhya Abhidhiyate. Right? Kya means, in Samskrita, Kya means knowledge. Right? Kha means emptiness. Right? And that which fills it is Kya. So Sankhya is knowledge. Shuddha Atma Tattva Vijnanam Sankhya Abhidhiyate. So you can say Sankhya is understanding. And Yoga is skill. Right? Sankhya is what the world is and how we understand it is Sankhya. Sankhya is, since it's a Shuddha Atma Tattva Vijnana, it is the understanding of not just the world, it's the understanding of ourselves in the world. So not just world, it's Shuddha Atma Tattva Vijnana. So it is our understanding of us in relation to the world. That is Sankhya. Right? So Sankhya, but this is the real understanding. Not that we all understand the way we are in the world, but that's not Sankhya. Sankhya means the correct or the true understanding of what we are in this world, how we are related to it, and what we are in our own selves. That is Sankhya. And Yoga is skill. Right? Now, what is the first concept of Sankhya? First thing that Krishna tells Arjuna, when Arjuna says, I cannot kill Bhishma, Drona, I cannot kill them. What is the first thing he says? What is the first key concept?
That they are not body.
Correct, right? So the first key concept is Jiva and Deha or body are two different things, right? See, in the Western world, mind-body is their concept. But in ours, mind and body are the same. Right? And even they speak of the triangle of mind, body and spirit. What is spirit? Right? They speak of mind, body and spirit. No. See, that's our misunderstanding. Spirit A spirit is like, that which animates. So spirit is actually equal to our concept of prana, not the concept of jiva. Even so, I was thinking, I don't even understand the word soul because animals are soulless. So jiva is not soul. So there is no concept equivalent of jiva in anywhere in the Western world. There is no concept of jiva in the Western world if you look at that. Because if soul is a concept of, if you go to Greco-Roman, maybe soul came from Greco-Romans, but I don't know what they had the concept as, but in the Christian world, animals do not have soul, so the concept, that does not map to jiva, right? So, body is there, mind is also there, right? Spirit is also there. Spirit is what? Prana, right? Pranayati, that means that which activates, that which animates is spirit, right? And that is nothing but prana. And prana is still there. Prana is not jiva. Prana is still there, right? But it is in sukshma deha. Then manas is also there, sukshma deha. Deha is deha, stula deha, physical body. So mind, body and spirit, which are the three things in Western world, is just one thing for us. It is all body for us. Everything is body. Other than the jiva, everything is body. Right? But that comes in three things, right? It's either physical body, or it is sukshma sharira, which is which is the mind, or manas, buddhi, ahankara, and chitta, and prana. They are all in the sukshma, right? And then finally jiva. So this is jiva and body difference, right? What does this give us? Why is this knowledge important? That I am not my body, which is the first key concept.
The body is temporary, jiva forever.
No, that is you are talking about the second step. So there is a second step there. That's the second key concept.
Jiva remains constant, everything changes.
That's what he is saying. So that's the second one. We will see that in the second one. But when I say I am not my body, what does that give you? It gives you something.
Identity?
No.
Identity?
It
No,
gives
no.
us an understanding that we should not be attached to whatever is the body.
Correct. Right? What it gives us is a space between I and my body. Right? Like, let's say you feel thirsty. Unconsciously you go take a cup and fill it up with water and drink. What are you doing then? You're completely attached to the body. For a second, if you can observe what the signal the body sent you, how that feels, if you're conscious about that and how that is driving you to go, right? That is the power to put a space between the body and what you are, right? So there is a space. So what this gives you is detachment. This is a yoga. This is a practice. Detachment. Detachment is a skill, right? This is the truth. This is the truth. This is detachment. So, what this knowledge gives you is the ability to detach yourself from your body and be able to influence the body the way you want it to be, right? Without this is the basis of any sadhana. Without this detachment, no sadhana is possible. Right? And also one of the requirements for this is ahankara, self-awareness. Without self-awareness, there is no awareness of the body. You are always your body unless you can detach from your body and be aware of yourself. Right? Ahankara is the basis of sadhana. Because ahankara means self-awareness, not ego. I'm talking about self-awareness. So ahankara, which is self-awareness, gives you that power to detach the body from jiva and hence be able to deal with all the signals that body sends you in a detached manner. You cannot control the body until you are detached from it. Right? That's number one. Number two is what? What is the second concept? Second concept, where Krishna says, the body always changes, the world always changes, jiva always remains the change. Jiva is nitya, jiva is shashvata, when whatever he talks about Jiva is also same with Paramatma, right? Paramatma is Nitya, therefore Jiva is also Nitya. Paramatma is Shashvata, therefore also Jiva is also Shashvata. Because what? There is a reflection, Bimba, Pratibimba relationship, right? So, that means, the second one says, Jiva is always Nitya. That means, the Sunil that I was or whatever you were when you were a kid, is the same when you were a teenager, is the same now, and it is going to be the same when you grow old. That self that is watching, that is experiencing, does not change, has not changed from your childhood till today or till your old age. It does not change. So everything around you changes. Your body has changed. Your outlooks have changed. Your social life has changed. Your natural world has changed. Everything changes, but for you. Everything else changed, but for you. That means the second key concept is what? Change is constant. Right? What does that give us? When you say change is constant, what does that give us?
How do you react to the change?
Right. Correct. So yoga is how you react to change, right? So this is react to change. How you react to change. And how do you react to change in the concept of yoga? How do you react to change? If you are attached to change, what happens? This is detachment. Detached attachment. And where does this detachment come from? Right? So how, see, this proceeds to here, proceeds to the next. Right? So detached attachment. See how these are related to each other? So, this is the truth about the world. This is how you use the truth about the world in your actions and in your dealing with the world. Right? So, detached attachment. That means, detachment gives you the distance, the space, so that you can handle change, and attachment makes you what? Involved in things. Right? If you are completely detached, what happens? You don't care. Right? If you are completely attached, what happens? Right. So if you are completely attached, you are only in the body. Right? Whatever body wants, you will do. If you are completely detached, you are only in Jiva. Jiva doesn't want to do anything with the body. Right? So that means this guy doesn't even care about the world. Somebody is dying, or let them die. I don't care. This guy is, I want to rule the world.
Tamas and Raju.
Exactly. This is tamas. This is completely perfect. So, but when you say detached attachment, that means you are in the world, and one of the very good examples they give is what? Lotus. Right? Lotus is in the water, dirty water, but still, it is a lotus, right? And it's a thing of beauty, still found in a filth. And it is completely detached from it. Right? So that is detached. So this gives you, this is the truth about the world, that change is constant. Nobody can change change. Change is the only constant. Whatever you do, your body will change, your mind will change, the world will change, the society will change, people change. But the only thing that doesn't change is just you. Right? And again, your relationship with God, because God is also not changing. And therefore, how you handle change determines whether you are happy or not. And therefore, how you can handle change is detached attachment. And what is the third concept? Third key concept? What is the third key concept? No, that comes from. There are three key concepts, and that comes from that.
How you get rid of the attachment?
What is that?
How you get rid of the attachment?
Detachment.
No.
Oh, you're talking about the process.
Yeah.
No. But I'm talking about the truths. There are three truths that Krishna spoke in Sankhya, and then that becomes practices, and then those are the details of those practices. Right? But there's another third truth that is not related to the first two. I mean, in the sense that it's a separate one.
Is it
Control the outcome.
Correct. Right? That means the third truth is you are never the controller. Right? Jiva does not control. Right? Jiva does not control anything. Is that true?
It influences.
Influence.
Okay, but do we control anything?
No.
Of course, we do control. There is no sadhana possible if we do not control something. See, when I said we do not control,
Control the outcome.
we do not control the outcome, right? We control the action.
Yeah.
We do control the action, right? So, detaching the outcomes with actions, that is the third one. Detach outcome from actions. That means man does not control his outcome, whatever may be it. However, we feel that it's not intuitively right. That I think I can control this and I can control opening. But the truth of the matter is I do not control the opening. Things are working, therefore my intentions are translating into, once some neuron doesn't work, whatever I think, my hands will not work, I'll not be able to open the bottle, right? So, outcomes are never in our control. Outcomes, I think I should say that. That is much better worded. Outcomes are never in our control. Are never in our control. So outcomes are never in our control, actions are. Right? We do control something, otherwise, how is a sadhana possible? Sadhana is possible because we have a kartrutva. In Samskrita, it's called kartrutva. Kartrutva means ownership. I can do something. What is it that I can do? Act. Everything else is not in my control. That's why jiva is what? Paratantra kartru. Aswatantra kartru. We are not swatantra kartru. That means we are not independent actors. We are dependent actors. That means, see, man, what is the basic motivation for any action? Desire to be happy. Right? So why is it that our actions lead us in the opposite direction?
Desire changes.
No. Let's say your desire not change.
Because our concept of happiness is wrong.
It's external
So
influence.
it takes us in the wrong direction.
Okay.
It's a quick fix.
It's about let's say after learning Gita, you got the right concept, but still, your actions will lead you.
Fear of failure.
Huh?
We're afraid of failure.
Fear of failure. But the thing is this, right? You
just get a quick result, a quick response. That's why you behave that way. Even though you know it, you don't follow it for the long term because it's still a lot of effort involved.
Correct.
So you just want a quick response, a quick
I think
for indriyas,
right.
Prakriti has its own rules.
Correct. Prakriti has its own rule, and Prakriti wants to keep you in Prakriti, right? Right. So man, even though man wants to be happy, right, he goes into all the other things because Prakriti wants to take him in that way. Right? So what this is saying is that all that is because we are outcome focused, not action focused. Once you detach from the outcome and you are only action focused, then it's fine. Because, see, if you had independent agency, that word in English, swatantra kartrutva means independent agency. That means, if I had independent agency, that means I had control over outcome. If I want to be happy, I should be able to act in such a way that I can be happy. Why is it that even though my intention is to make myself happy, I still are No, I'm not happy. Or I can say, I'm sometimes happy, sometimes unhappy. And that just goes on and on forever. Because outcomes are never in our control. If it was in our control, I would always act in such a way to make myself happy. Right? That is the basis of Swatantra Kartrutva is man is not independently acting or does not control his outcome. Otherwise, he would have controlled the outcome in such a way that he could always be happy forever. Why is not man happy forever? Because he cannot control the outcome. All he can control is his actions. That is the difference between Swatantra Kartrutva and Aswatantra Kartrutva is this. Man controls outcome, man does not control outcome. And the Vedanta, or the truth about Sankhya is, outcomes are never in our control. Actions are. And how does that translate to this? What is the famous sloka? Karmanyevadhikaraste. Karmanyevadhikaraste is translating this truth about the world and about ourselves in the world into actionable items. These are all actionable items. These are all theory or key concepts. So these are if you look at second chapter, if you just make note of this is the message of Gita. What is Gita? This is Gita. Right? Everything else that comes later on in the third chapter, fourth, fifth, till the 17th, 18th is again a summary of all the Gita. All of them are expansions, not of these, but expansions of these, mostly expansions of these. Expansion of these. And then when they expand, then there is something that is not obvious, so expansion on that, all the related concepts are expanded. So you get 18 chapters. So first chapter is the issue, second chapter is the complete solution. Now the question is, why third chapter? If the second chapter is already there, if the second chapter is what Gita is, why is third chapter? It's already said. Second chapter talks about, when they talk about Sthita Prajna, the concepts of the body, how is body attached to, or how is Jiva attached to the body and body attached to the world? Indriyas. Right? So the whole detachment comes from what? Indriya Nigraha, sense control, right? This, Krishna talks about this and said, skill for this is again sense control. Right? And why do you need to control sense? Mind control. Right? You want them. Right? So mind control. So manas, to be clear, to get clarity of mind or manas, you need to have indriyas under check. When the indriyas are under check, you are detached from the world, your manas is still, that is when wisdom takes root. Right? That means your understanding about the world and about yourself in the world becomes very clear. When the mind is still. Right? All of these things are what, basically? To make mind still. If body is Jiva identifies with body, mind is never still. Mind is going for the next thing, right? So mind is always turbulent. Right? It's like turbulent waters. When does it become still? First of all, it's sense control. Sense control is how you detach. Right? How you detach is through sense control. When sense control, then manas is calm. When manas is calm, your understanding is clear. When your understanding is clear, then your dhyana is possible. So all of those things are leading there. And Krishna talks about how to control sense and all those things. Again, it comes later on. But this is the key things in the second chapter. So my question to you is, why third chapter? Why Karma Yoga? Second chapter already talks about yoga. Right? Yoga. These are all the skills that you need to live in life. Detachment, and then how you react to change, detached attachment, right, within the world, and then finally, just your attachment to your actions rather than the outcomes. That's it. That's about it.
I think you got to put it in context with the actual situation, obviously Arjuna would not have been what shall I say, illuminated just by the second chapter. He needed further clarification, especially as it pertains to applied action.
Okay.
And so, like you mentioned, that this is the central core concept, and the other chapters basically tell you how to live your life applying these principles and make it more approachable, make it more understandable, make it easier to follow.
Right. It's all right, but except for one thing. Arjuna is Mahajnani. Right? So Arjuna just needed second chapter. We need all the 18 chapters. Right? Arjuna is, he's rated with the Hanuman, Bhimasena, Arjuna, they all come as the top knowledge jnanis. But we don't understand. And again, Arjuna is like, he's like the person who is acting for us. He's just asking simple questions so that Krishna tells more, not for him, for us, for the things, for the people.
Well, it's basically down to, a person saying, I believe in God, and another person saying, I know God. That's the difference. I mean, it's easy to say, yes, God exists everywhere, but that's just a statement, that's a core statement, a truth. But to know God, that's that experience, that realization, it's a totally different, level of understanding.
Right.
And I think that's the difference is that tells you the truth. I mean, that is the ultimate knowledge right there on the board there.
Right.
But, okay, now how does that relate to me? When I leave this classroom, how do I live by that? How do I negotiate life with all its turbulence?
Exactly.
Using that.
Correct. But the other key thing is this. One doubt might come to you. See, detachment, reacting to change, detached attachment, ownership, and all of those things. All of those things require what? I can sit at home, leave my job, do meditation, or I can just leave the world, go to join some ashram, and then I'll follow the sadhanas. Why is it that I should stay in samsara and be detached when I can go out of samsara and be completely detached? It is more harder to be in the middle of things and be detached. When I completely detach myself, I take myself out of the situation and give myself clarity.
But when you do that, there is no action. I mean,
Right?
Well, in the sense that-
That is still action. See, japa, dhyana. See, a person, sannyasi, life of a sannyasi is much tougher than life of a grihastha.
exactly.
Sannyasi, not today's sannyasi. Sannyasi has to live very simple life, right? He has to beg for food. So you don't know where the next food comes from, right? His life is tough, right? But the thing is, again, when a person is serious about the sadhana, right? I don't want to be in the middle of distractions. I want to shut down. In one of those last classes, I said one of the good things to do is just shut off the distractions and then start from there. Isn't that a good, first thing to do? If samsara is distraction, why not shut off ourselves from samsara and go out of samsara? Why not all of us become sannyasis?
Because of step number one, that sense control, it's not like a switch where you can just shut it off. Means I might leave my home and go to the mountains,
Right?
but I'm still controlled by my senses.
No, that's fine. But isn't it easier for you to do it in the mountains rather than in the middle of things?
I would say within 2 days I'll be pining for hot coffee and a warm, soft bed. Absolutely.
Then that means you will fail both ways.
That's my point. Is that it's very difficult to detach. It's easy to say detachment. Okay?
Right.
It's sense control.
Right.
It's like the famous example that Krishna gives of the chariot, the master of the chariot, the
Right.
driver, the
Right.
horses, the reins.
Right.
Those horses are extremely wild.
Yes.
Okay?
Right.
The driver needs to be very skilled pulling the reins because it's just difficult. It's extremely torturous, in fact. It becomes mental torture more than anything else.
Right. But still, the point is, it is difficult, but it is much easier to get out of that difficulty in a situation where there are no distractions than in a situation where there are complete like if they are distracting you with all the things, take this, and it's all attractive, it's very hard to resist. Than you don't have anything, you switched off the TV, your distractions are so less.
Yeah, but then the other thing is the illusion of control and the illusion of permanence. There's no better teacher to teach us than life itself. Okay, as I live life, going to job, raising a family, having all my social interactions, that's the best teacher I have for me to actually realize the futility of it all. Okay, and I think so it's really the best teacher. That's one of the reasons why I believe we all incarnate in the first place. It's not to hide in the caves. It's actually...
No. See, that's the wrong thing. They are not hiding in the caves, right?
No, that's just a figure of speech. But basically separating themselves from...
Society.
Society.
So that, why they are doing is they don't want the distractions, of the society.
Is it karma?
But they still have to
You
do
have your previous karma which you have to fulfill.
No, leave the karmas. You leave the previous thing. But, given a choice, I will put you in a very environment with all these distractions. You need to follow all this. That's one situation. I'll take you in a very serene environment, and then you can follow all this. What would you choose? Which is the easiest way to do? In the middle of distractions or in the middle of serenity?
Sannyasi would be easier.
Huh?
Sannyasi would be easier.
Correct. Right? Sannyasa is easier. It is. Sannyasa is easier in the sense, no, I shouldn't say sannyasa is easier. Doing this in a serene environment is easier than doing it in the middle of distractions. Correct? It is. Now the question is this. That is exactly Arjuna's question. See, Arjuna's question is, all that you have said is well and good. I understand all those things. But you say all this, and then you say, go fight the war. Because after saying all this, you expect Krishna to say, this is the reality, just go to the cave and then practice sense control. Instead of saying that, Krishna is saying, you should be detached, you should only pursue actions, not outcomes. Go fight the war. You're putting me in the middle of distractions, and you're putting me in the middle of what?
Action.
What kind of actions? Murder, right? You're killing people. Where there is raga, dvesha, everything is there, right? Hatred at its most, right? Greed, jealousy, everything is there in the war field, right? Everything is out in the open. You're saying you have to detach yourself. You're putting me in the middle of the things where that is the most difficult to do. I do not understand this. Right? The correct thing for you to tell me was, like a sthita prajna, go and do all these things in the calm of the forest or in the calm away from society. Again, I can do sadhana there. Why are you saying go and fight the war? Right? So this is how it starts. Now you see the relationship, right? So this does not explain correctly why Arjuna should fight the war, or does it explain correctly why I should be in the society, go for my job and work, when it is much harder for me to follow all this being in this world, pulled by all these different distractions in life, in society, in family life. Why not I become sannyasi, where it is much easier for me? Life is not easier, life is still difficult, but it is easier to do this, practice these, than being in samsara and then practice this. This is much difficult to practice it in samsara, within society, than being out of society. Arjuna's question is this. Yeah, all you have said is well and good. One thing I don't understand. Why are you not telling, go practice this where it is easy, in the forest? Instead of that, you are making it harder for me by saying you have to practice all this in the middle of the war, when everything is, all emotions are out in the open. It is much, much harder to do. What is the reason? Why? And look at the beauty of Arjuna's question. Arjuna says, first verse, Arjuna uvacha, jayasi chet karmanaste mata buddhihi janardana tat kim karmani ghore mam niyojayasi Keshava. Right? So he's now referring to even more fundamental issue. Not just that. That's the next verse. What I said now was the next verse. But he's now referring to a much more fundamental thing. That is, he says, in your te mata, in your mat, as in your opinion, if karmanaha buddhi jayasi, jayasi means better, higher, better, jesta, right? Higher, right? Jayasi means higher. If you're in your opinion, knowledge is higher than action. Right? Krishna has said knowledge is higher than action. Is knowledge higher than action? It is higher than action. Right? So, because Krishna himself in the second chapter says, Durena hyavaram karma buddhi yoga dhananjaya buddhau sharanam anvicha krupanaha palahetavah. Durena hi avaram karma. Far, far inferior is karma than jnana. That is again a fundamental problem now. If knowledge is better than karma, why is not Krishna telling Arjuna, go get knowledge? Instead, he is saying, this is useless, go do this useless thing. Right? Jayasi chet karmanaste mata buddhihi janardana tat kim karmani ghore that is tat kim karmani ghore mam niyojayasi Keshava. Not just that. You are not even telling me, okay, take administration, do day-to-day work. Karmani ghore. You are putting me in ghora karma. Right? You are saying, first of all you are saying, knowledge is so nice, action is here, but you do this. Right? But not just that. He says, you do this is okay, but you do that worst thing. Right? Karmani ghore mam niyojana. Niyojana means you are making me, you are telling you have to go do that. Right? So you are giving me the lower, of the lower you are giving me the lowest. Karma is fine. Right? Karma, at least karma every day, doing the karma, you can do some practice. Ghora karma, how can you practice? You go murder and be detached. Why would anybody say you go murder and be detached? Right? You should say, go to a serene environment and follow all this. He's saying this, so Arjuna is saying, knowledge is better than action, that's what you said. And action is better than worst action, but you are telling me to go do the worst action. Right? And then in the second verse he says, Vyamishrena iva vakyena buddhim mohayasi iva me tadekam vada nischitya yena shreyaha aham apnuyam. See you'll miss the respect that Arjuna has for Krishna. Arjuna, is the very big bhakta of Krishna. He's saying, Vyamishrena iva vakyena. Mishra vakya. Right? That is, you're saying this and also saying this. It's mixed. Right? You're mixing things up. Vyamishrena iva vakyena. But what he's saying, Vyamishrena vakyena. He's not saying, you're telling all this mixed thing to me. He's saying, Vyamishrena iva vakyena. What is iva? Like. That means, you are not telling this mixed thing. I am understanding it that way. Iva means it is like that to me. But you are telling me the right thing. So the mistake is on my side. That is what Arjuna says. Vyamishrena iva vakyena buddhim mohayasi iva me. Buddhi moha. You are doing buddhi moha. I can say, Arjuna could have said, oh, you are confusing me, first of all. By confusing, you are creating moha in me. Krishna is saying, you talk with words that is confusing me, but you are not confusing me. You are telling the right thing, but it's confusing me. You are not doing moha. For me, it is becoming moha. Buddhi moha yasi iva me. Right? So there is a difference between you are doing this to me, or you are doing this which is creating this in me. Two things. When you put iva there, that means the problem is not on your side. The problem is on my side. Right? Buddhim mohayasi iva me. Right? Tadekam vada nischitya. Tell me one. Simple. Instead of saying all these different things, simple, nischitya. Simple truth. Yena sarvam, yena tadekam vada nischitya, yena shreyaha aham apnuyam. By which I attain Shreyas. What is Shreyas? Shreyas means that which is Hita. See, there are two things. I don't know how many of you were there in Kathopanishad. When we did the Kathopanishad, like most of you were there. Shreyas and Preyas, right? Yama, when Yama tempts Nachiketa, Nachiketa says, I don't want kingdom, I don't want any. You tell me the answer to this question. Right? And then Yama is so impressed with this small boy, and he says, people always have a choice with what? Shreyas and Preyas. Right? Shreyas is Hita. Preyas is Priya. What is Hita and Priya? What is Priyakara?
One which I like.
One which is pleasant to you. Right? Which feels pleasant to you. What is Hita?
Which is good for you.
Correct. Right? That is the difference. That which is pleasing to me, that which is good to me. That is the two things he said. Medicine might be very hard to swallow, but it is Priya or Hita? Hita. Right? Ice cream, is it Priya or Hita? Priya. Right? That difference, understanding was there in Nachiketa. Who was? Nachiketa was 8-year-old boy. Right? But that is that's the key thing that Yama praises. Nachiketa, you have that sense of discriminating between what is Hita and what is Priya. Right? And what is Arjuna saying? Tadekam vada nischitya. Tell me that one thing without all these things that confuse me. Right? Yena shreyaha aham apnuyam. Yena hitam aham apnuyam. By which I'll attain good. Not pleasant, but that which is actually good to me. Right? So now the question is, the first one is, jayasi chet karmanaste mata buddhihi. You all agreed knowledge is better than action. Why? And why is Arjuna wrong in asking this? If knowledge is better than action, why should one act and not pursue knowledge?
Could be different for different people.
No. You are going to the third step. But you need to understand this one first, right? If knowledge is better than action,
It's very simple. Knowledge guides the right action.
correct, knowledge guides right action, correct.
That's why knowledge is first, action is second.
Then you're contradicting it. Then why not I go to the guide, then to the action?
You get good knowledge by doing action. Related. Like the right knowledge comes from action. Do the actions you want.
What kind of actions? Not war,
No,
right? So Arjuna's question is that knowledge comes from action, correct? Knowledge does not come from war. But you're asking me to go to war. And knowledge, I cannot think of any way a war will lead to enlightenment. How will a war lead to enlightenment? It will not. So, Arjuna, it's not, let's not trivialize Arjuna's question, because this is very, very interesting and important point. War does not lead to enlightenment. Why not put me in actions that lead to enlightenment, even though actions are inferior? Yes, actions are inferior. Why are actions inferior? What motivates actions? Desire, right? Yeah, results, but desire of result. So, when we say karma, in the same breath I can say what? Desire. I said kama and karma are interchangeable. Right? There is always kama, therefore there is always karma. When we say it's my karma, what is actually my karma? It's not my actions. It's my actions that came from my desires. Right? And one of the examples I usually give is, I walk from here to my car. Is it a good karma or a bad karma? Is it a sat karma or a dushkarma? I am walking from here to my car. No.
Depends what's going on in your heart.
Your intention.
What are you desiring?
Correct, right? If I don't desire anything, I'm going from here to my car. So it is not, it's not a karma. Basically, see, that's why do not misunderstand karma with action. Then everything will become karma. Our concept of karma is not that. Karma means kama. That means wherever there is kama, only there you have karma. If I walk from here, or if I drink water, there is no concept of satkarma or dushkarma. Right? If I drink water, why satkarma, why dushkarma? Right?
Depends the intention.
Yeah, drinking water, what intention? Just
You may have somebody else.
someone, yeah, again.
You may have somebody else. You may poison that one, so just to pretend that you're drinking.
There you go. That's karma. That dushkarma. Okay. So that is karma. Karma is not action, right? And again, English translations, they're so completely out of mark. That is what it is, right? When we say action, all my actions means no. Your walking to your car does not cause you to be born again. There is nothing like that. So majority of so only those actions which are driven by desires, selfish desires, right? Kama, that is the one that is actually in Vedanta called karma. So you should have that difference. Karma is not any action, karma is action with desire. Correct?
That sort of gets mixed into it, right?
How?
Because you have desires, and without the actions, you can't.
Selfish desires. When I go to my car, I have no selfish desires. Unless I think, let them, nobody has car, I have car, let them watch me going. Then that becomes karma. Right? But if I'm simply walking to my car because I want to go home, there is a desire, but again, that is not selfish desire. That's not ahankarika kama. Right? It is just a motivation to act. Right? That's it. So, even that kama doesn't do anything. Right? That's why I said, not all kama creates karma. Right? So, that is the thing. So, rajasika kama creates karma. Again, so whenever you think of karma, think of kama. When in Vedanta, when they talk of my karma, you should always think of all these desires I had in my previous life. Those desires are still there. Because desires will never go away until it is outgrown or it is quenched. When it is quenched, it creates 10 more desires. Right? When it is outgrown, it becomes irrelevant. That's why I said you cannot express a desire, nor can you suppress a desire. You have to outgrow it, right? That's what Krishna says. So, that is what we are talking about. Karma is that. Okay, what was I talking about? So action and knowledge, right? So, action is inferior because it is always driven by desire. Why it's inferior? Because it's driven by desire. Then why it is inferior? Because desire is endless, therefore action is endless. Action always keeps you in action. Desire always keeps you in desire. You cannot quench one desire with another desire. One desire will always lead to 10 more desires. Why is that? Why can't a desire be quenched? We talked about this, right? Kama cannot be expressed. That means it cannot be quenched by getting something. Nor cannot be suppressed. You cannot suppress the desire. When you suppress it, it expresses in a different way. So the thing is, why can't it be quietened or quenched?
Because it leads to emotions.
It leads to emotions.
Depending on whether your desire is fulfilled. Then it goes back to sense control and everything.
Yeah, so basically one karma leads to another karma. And the basic nature of karma, which comes in 3rd chapter, Krishna explains the nature of desire, which is very important in this chapter. He says, the nature of desire is, it is objectless. You know what it means? A desire is objectless. What does that mean?
Endless.
Objectless. That means,
You cannot put a finger on it.
correct. That means desire has no end. It is like I reach there, my desire is gone.
Sky is the limit.
It's always like that. Desire is a cup without the bottom. You're trying to fill it up, it will never fill up. Because why is that? Why is this cup not filling? Because it's the nature of the cup. It is without a bottom, therefore it can never fill up. Right? So exactly, desire is like that. The nature of desire is such that desire has no object as its end.
But then the issue is, can you outgrow your desires, okay, or outgrow your karma? So when you think of Ashoka, he went through the Kalinga war, very brutal, and till then he was a very aggressive ruler. He used to conquer kingdoms, his family members, so on and so forth. And it was a very bloody war, and he looks and sees the destruction, and he changes. His desire for such brutality almost gets quenched, if you will. So through that action, through the action of brutal war, he reached a state where he no longer felt the desire, even though till then that's what drove him. Is his ambition and the gratification, maybe the feeling he got of victory. That all dies.
No. He saw the truth about the suffering, but quenching is different. Quenching is what you go seeking for, you get it, and then it's not the end of it. That what you are talking about is vairagya. What Ashoka got was vairagya. I am talking about quenching the desire. That means I desire something. When I reach it, all my desires are gone. No, because desire has no object.
So in turn, sannyasam is also a form of desire. You can say the quench for knowledge.
No, that is so.
Can you term that way?
No, desires. When we were doing the second chapter, we divided desires into desires that are rajasic. That means that excites you, and desires that calm you. Desire for knowledge is one such thing where it calms you. That needs to be cultivated, because desires can never be destroyed. But when we are talking about desires that needs to be destroyed or outgrown, those are the desires that will excite you. These kinds of desire for power, desire to conquer. Those are the things that excite you, not calm you. But you can never outgrow every desire in yourself. That's one thing you cannot do. And that was a discussion in the second chapter. So what we are talking you should all remember that what we are talking about here is Rajasika Kama, right? Rajasika Kama has no object. Desire has no object, right? That means that's what Krishna will say here. Kamo anala. Anala in Sanskrita means fire, and etymologically anala means alam means what? Alam buddhi. What is alam buddhi? Have you heard of alam? Alam buddhi means satisfied. Anala means never satisfied. So fire is never satisfied in the sense that whatever you throw into the fire becomes bigger and bigger. And therefore desire and fire, they're compared. And etymologically, kama is anala. Kama is a fire because it has no satisfaction. It is never satisfied by any object, because it has nothing as its object. Basically, desire has nothing as its object, just wants. When you get something, it wants something else. When you get that, it wants something else. Because the nature of desire is to just want. It's not want this and then I'm done. It's just want. It's open-ended. Right? It's an open-ended thing. So I want. You give this, okay. Now I want that. You give that, now I want that. So that's the nature of desire.
So you can't say it's objectless. You can say that it's not satisfied by one object.
Which is objectless.
Well, the desire for knowledge has getting the knowledge as object, but that's just one object, and then. So
No, getting the knowledge as object. If what I mean by object is when you get it, it is done. It is not like that. Desire has no end in the sense that you get this, it is terminated. There is no termination of desire. Because why? Because that's the nature of desire. Desire is an open-ended want. Whatever you give it, It says, okay, I'm blind to it, I'll move on. You give another thing, okay, I move on. So that is what the nature of desire is. Kamo anala. Right?
Endless.
Endless. That is why karma is endless. Right? And that is why karma is low. Right? Karma is low. That is the reason. Because karma generates karma. Karma generates karma. Karma generates karma. Knowledge is higher than karma because knowledge is the one that acts as the guide, like you said, to the karma. Knowledge and desire are like opposites. Wherever there is knowledge, there is no desire. No, there is no rajasika kama. Right? And therefore, when knowledge comes, action that comes from this knowledge becomes higher action. So, action by itself is inferior always. If it is driven by desire, very inferior. Driven by knowledge, then it becomes a good, better action. Right? So between action and knowledge is always superior, action is always inferior. Right? And also, when those desires are the desires of war, it becomes ghora karma, very bad, because there is a lot of hatred involved. And once you have hatred emotions, you are generating a lot of bad karma because of the hatred in the war. Right? So Arjuna is saying, Vyamishrena iva vakyena buddhim mohayasi iva me tadekam vada nischitya ena shreya aham apnuyam. So this is Arjuna's problem. This is not a trivial question. This is a very good question applicable to us too. Right? So now Krishna says, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, Loke asmin dvividha nishta pura prokta mayanagha jnana yogena sankhyanam karma yogena yoginam. Now you need to understand two concepts. I think we will do that, and then probably in the next, when we come back in January, we can pick it up from here. Let me talk about these two important concepts. There are two concepts of karma called pravritti karma, nivritti karma. Do you know the word nivritti? Right? Nivrit ho gaye, right? That means he's retired. Nivritti means giving up, actionless. Right? Giving up, it's like you have retired from active duty. Is nivritti, right? Nivritti karma. Pravritti karma. What is pravritti karma? Pravritti karma means actively involved in actions. So there are two things: nivritti karma, pravritti karma. Now, what is this nivritti karma? What is this pravritti karma? I'll tell you very good example from astrology, right? Jyotishya. There are two shadows in Jyotishya. Do you know what those are? Two shadows. Among the 9 grahas, 2 are lights, 2 are shadows. 5 are planets. Rahu Ketu, right? Rahu Ketus are shadows. They are the ones that cause the eclipse. Now, Rahu is pravritti, Ketu is nivritti. I'll tell you how it is, okay? When the whole universe was forming, that was in Kurmavatara, right? At Kurmavatara, there was no universe. It was all formation. The Devas and the Asuras do Samudra Mantana. You all know the story, right? When Vishnu brings Amrita as Dhanvantari, he only wants the Devatas, the lights, forces of light, to get the Amrita, not the forces of darkness. So, they pull that, the Asuras pull that Amrita Kalasha from Dhanvantari, and they are about to distribute among themselves. Then Vishnu comes as Mohini, right? Moha, causes Moha. So, the beauty of Mohini, whatever she says, they do, Asuras do. Why? Complete attachment, right? So Asuras, so the Mohini convinces them, let me do this, let me do the partition, equally I will do. Let me start with the Devas first, and then I will come with the Asuras. And then, everybody agree, fine. But there is one person who is, that's how universe works, right? Vishnu has everything created like that, called Swarabhanu. He will say, no, I will go and stand as a Deva, like a Devata, as a force of light, in the line of the Devas. Well, Mohini is distributing Amrita. So when Mohini is distributing Amrita, Indra gets, everybody, Surya gets, Chandra gets, all Agni Devata, every Devata gets. Swarabhanu is also getting. Swarabhanu gets it and is about to have it when Surya Chandra identify. Oh, this is not one of us. This is one of the Asuras. He is in a transformed as a Deva. He is standing there. Mohini comes back as Vishnu, cuts off the head. Right? Body fell down. Head is Amrita. They are shadow. Right? The forces of darkness, they are shadows. Right? Head becomes the Rahu. Body becomes the Ketu. Now they're always with, they always eclipse sun and the moon. Rahu always eclipses sun, Ketu always eclipses moon. They're always opposed to sun and the moon. Now, how this is related to pravritti and nivritti, I'll tell you. What is Rahu? Only head. Rahu is the worst graha. Of all, Shani is a good graha. Right? Shani is a Sauri. That means he is one of the Devatas. He is son of sun, S-U-N, Surya's son. So Shani is a Sauri, Surya Vamsha, comes from Surya Vamsha. Just like Yama comes from Surya Vamsha. So Shani is a good guy. We always curse Shani. Right? Shani is giving back what? Our karma. That same desire, he is just giving. He is abhimani for that. He has nothing personal there. Your dukkha is giving to you. That is his job. Rahu is the worst fellow. Right? Why is Rahu worst fellow? What is the nature of Rahu? No, what is his nature? Just look at what he is doing. He is just the head and the mouth. That means whatever Rahu eats, no satisfaction. It's all falling down. That's why in the Shed Ripu, see, when you look at a birth horoscope, you can say what is the worst guna of that person. Because of the 6 Shed Ripus, Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsara, they are mapped by 6 of these grahas. Guru is always Sattva. Sun and Moon, they are always light, so they have no dosha. Then, there are how many? 6 of them left. Each of them mapped to one of the Shed Ripu. Rahu maps to what? Kama. Krodha, Mars. Right? Krodha maps to Mars. Then Lobha, greedy old man we say. Right? Shani is that old man. Shani maps to greed. Then Moha is Shukra. Shukra is attractive, Moha Karaka. And then Lobha, Matsara, Buddha, right? Buddha is kid. Jealousy is always green. They say green, right? Buddha is kid. And then Mada is Ketu. Because he is headless. He acts with heart. He is very emotional, irrational. That's it. So if you look at Ketu and Rahu, Ketu always eats everything. He is never satisfied. Right? Ketu is always thinking. He is always manipulating people. Not Ketu. Rahu is always thinking because it's only head. Always thinking. Always consuming. So consumer is Rahu. Consumerism is driven by which graha? Rahu. Right? Rahu is in the top of the worst fellows. Right? So Rahu is consumerism. He always consumes because he has only mouth. Nothing below. Right? That is pravritti karma. Pravritti karma is any karma with a desire. If you do, then you are pravartana. That karma creates another karma. Because it is never satisfied. Pravritti karma never satisfied. Ketu is another extreme. Ketu is cut off his head. Right? Ketu says, I don't want the society. Right? That means Ketu has lost his body. And in Jyotisha, Ketu is mokshakaraka. Right? Why is mokshakaraka? Because Ketu is opposed to Moon. Moon is society. Ketu says, I don't want any society. A person, if he has Ketu ruling him, most probably will give up society and become sannyasi. Most of the sannyasis will have some of these kind of characteristics. So Ketu is complete nivritta. Right? Ketu works from heart, does not want to be with people. Right? So that's why Ketu is opposed to moon. Moon means family. Moon is mother, right? Moon is matrukaraka. So moon is mother. Mother is family. Being with groups of people, having a lot of relations, friendships. That is moon. Having none of them, being a loner, being by himself. That is Ketu. Right? Sun is leading. Right? Rahu, opposed to it, is rebelling. Right? Rebellion is Rahu. Leading is Surya. Opposed. Each one is opposed to each other. Right? So if you look at see everything, Vedanta, Jyotisha, Ayurveda, all of these are connected. All the concepts are connected to each other. I just wanted to give you an example from another field, because Jyotisha is one of the Vedangas, right? Jyotisha is not just astronomy. It's not just astrology. It is astronomy with astrology, both of them together. Phala Jyotisha is astrology. Just Jyotisha is astronomy, right? So now, Ketu means, I don't want anybody. What does it map to? Detachment. Rahu is complete attachment. Right? So is nivritti karma detachment? No. I'm just giving you two examples, extreme examples. Pravritti karma is doing everything with a lot of desire, like everybody does. Nivritti karma is giving up all desires. I don't want anything and go into a cave. Nivritti karma. So now, the question is, it is bad to be pravritta, it is bad to be nivritta. In this sense. So what should I do? That is basically the question of Arjuna. Right? If you are consuming, you will always be consuming. If you are detached, you don't care. What should I be doing? Add Rahu with Ketu, then you get back Surabhanu. Right? Detached attachment, right? Right? So that is the question, which we will leave at that. Then next time, we'll pick up at what Krishna says. He says there are two kinds of nishtas. There are two paths. Those two paths are pravritti and nivritti. And then, there are two paths basically for mankind, pravritti and nivritti. Nivritti has two paths, Sankhya and Yoga. Right? Sankhya and Yoga both belong to detached attachment. Right? But why this Sankhya, why this Yoga, we'll see later on. Any questions so far?
When is the next session?
Next week.
It's the last class for this year.
I was going to invite you later next week, and after
Then
that,
January 13th.
then January 13th. So next week, Sunday will be the.
Oh, did they add it new?
Yes.
Oh, maybe. Okay, then next week.
Next week.
Any questions on this? Any lingering?
I'm still waiting for you here. So why is it you have to go to
Sinking
more?
close.
No. See, because every one of these skills has no societal items. Right? I can do all by myself. Correct? So man is a social being. You need to give the skill in a social environment, not in an individual environment. Right? If I tell you, okay, go practice this, then it becomes your own thing. But man is not his own thing, right? Man is in society. So Krishna will tell you, this is not just an individual thing, it is a societal thing. So how within society you should be able to do this. That is what he's trying to say in Sankhya and Yoga. But always remember these two things, pravritti karma and nivritti karma. These are two important things. Pravritti is always leading to more actions and leading to everything bad. Nivritti is that which leads to good when it is what? With knowledge. Right? When it is like Ketu, I don't care, then it is again leading to tamas. That's why Ketu in Jyotishya has he's bad, he's also good. Right? Ketu is a sadhu. Why sadhu? Because sadhu is outside society. Ketu is also mob. Why is Ketu mob? Because mobs don't have heads. Right? They go with irrationality. So anything irrational, any rash action, any carelessness, right? Mada is ruled by Ketu. Ketu, again, the highest inspiration comes from heart, ruled by Ketu. So, it is very, very interesting to see, is he bad or is he good? Ketu can be both. It depends on who is with. But Rahu is always, always, always bad. Is the worst graha because he is always rules kama, which is never satisfied, and he is always rebelling. See, Rahu has two enemies. He is nirjiva. That means jiva means guru. Brihaspati, guru is jiva. Right? He rules life. Jupiter rules life. Jupiter is spiritual. Jupiter rules wisdom. Right? Rahu, and Sun. Sun is a leader. Sun rules, knowledge because he is light. Rahu is opposed to, he eclipses Sun, he is opposed to Jiva. That means he eclipses Sun, that means he rebels leadership, he rebels authorities. That rebelling authority comes from Rahu. Right? Rebelling life again comes from Rahu. That means, if you go to astrology, machines are ruled by Rahu. Because machines kill life. Right? Big machines are ruled by Rahu. Because they are opposed to Jiva. That which is opposed to Jiva is, Nirjiva. Rahu rules Nirjivatva. Rahu rules rebellion. Right? Shani is opposed to Surya. See, Shani is Surya's son. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Right? But Shani goes away. Shani goes away because there is a story that the wife Chaya. See, Surya has two wives, Sanya and Chaya. Right? Sanya is his real wife. And she cannot tolerate the effervescence of this sun. Right? That means, sun is in splendor, his wife cannot tolerate the husband's splendor. Right? So she's like, no, she'll make another copy of herself, which is shadow, Chaya, and she goes away to her, Vishwakarma's place, her father-in-law's, her father's place, Surya's father-in-law's place. And so this Chaya is all like that. She is a clone of Sanya. She lives with Surya, has kids as well. Shani is Chaya's son. And then one day, it so happens that Sanya's son is Yamadharma, Sanya's son. Chaya always ill-treats. It's not her son. Yama is like, she is not my mother. Yamuna, Yamuna Nadi, Abhimanini, they're all Sanya's kids. It's like, this mother is not loving me. And then one day he goes and kicks his mother. Yama kicks his mother. And she curses, let your leg always have worms. Right? Yamadharma always limps because he's lost, one leg. So then he says, no mother will curse a kid like this. So she is not my mother. And then son, is like, who are you? And then she says, no, I am Chaya. Your real wife could not tolerate your splendor. She has gone to her father's house. And then he curses her. And then her son Shani, they are all banished. Right? And then Sanya is like a horse. Horse, what is a female horse? Mare? She's roaming around in jungles as a female horse. And so son also becomes like a horse, goes and joins her. Their kids are who? Ashwini Devatas. Ashwini, twins. Ashwini Kumara. Right? So they are all Sauris. They're all sons. Okay. So Shani is banished by his own father vanished away. Right? Therefore, Shani and Surya never go together. If in your horoscope, if you have Sun and Shani together, that means relationship between you and your father will not be very good, or you and your kids will not be very good. Right? Because that all these stories are templates of what is going to happen in our life. Right? But the way Shani opposes Surya is by indifference. Shani, when like if let's say I'm teaching in a class, right? You are like you're yawning and sleeping. That is ruled by Shani. If you oppose me, hey Sunil, that's BS. That's not true. Ruled by Rahu. See how they oppose each other, right? Rahu is rebelling. Shani is that is Shani. Right? So tamas. Shani rules tamas. So Shani is indifferent, but he's not ill. He doesn't want ill of you. He doesn't he doesn't care about you. That's all. Rahu is completely opposed to you. He wants your death. So that is why when you go to the temple, go around, because whenever I go, I see in front of Shani there is all of the things are in front of Shani. The biggest Deva Brihaspati is nothing in front of him. Right? All of them, Shani has so many black cloth is there, and all of lamps are lit, but all the grahas are sun who is in the middle, nothing for him. Right? Shani completely, everything is there. So, it's more than Sukha, which Brihaspati rules, we don't want Dukkha. Right?
I think people were afraid of the 7.5 Saturn period, so that's always there in the mind.
No, that's fine. But the reality is, Guru is the one who gives wisdom. If you go to Shani, you cannot do anything. Guru is the one who actually does. Okay, then, let's finish now. Let's see. What happened? Okay. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanura Mardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagat Gurum Om